This is Top Accolade Global News Updates. I am Soy Bifa Jackridge. Rescuers in Taiwan face the threat of further landslide and rockfalls in the search on Friday for a dozen people still missing from this week's earthquake. As the death toll rose to 12 and some of the stranded were brought to safety, searchers discovered two more bodies after Wednesday's quake of magnitude 7.2 struck the sparsely populated, largely rural eastern country of Hualien, stranding hundreds in the national park as boulders barreled down mountains, cutting off roads as some 50 aftershocks rattled the area overnight. Some felt as far away as Taipei. Rescuers said about 400 people caught off in a luxury hotel in the Taroko Gorge National Park were safe, with helicopters ferrying out the injured and bringing supplies. Taiwan's fire department said two bodies were found in the mountains, but did not immediately update the death toll. It put the number of missing at 18, three of them foreigners of Australian and Canadian nationality. It dropped from the list of missing an Indian national whose inclusion it's called a mistake, but did not elaborate. The quake came a day before Taiwan began a long weekend holiday for the traditional Thumb Sweeping Festival, when people head to their homes to spruce up ancestral graves. Many other visit tourist spots like Hualien, famed for its rugged beauty, but the earthquake has crushed business with many bookings cancelled, some businesses said. Iran held a funeral on Friday for 7 officers killed in a suspected Israeli airstrike on the Iranian embassy compound in Syria this week. An unprecedented attack for which Tehran has vowed to take revenge, state television showed. Demonstrators carried pictures of those killed and banners with slogans such as "Death to Israel" and "Death to America." The funeral coincided with the annual Quds, that is Jerusalem Day, during which Iran stages large state-sponsored pro-Palestinian and anti-Israel rallies nationwide. The leader of Palestinian militant group Islamic Jihad, Zaid al-Nakala, took part in the rally in Tehran. Iranian media reported. Among those killed in Monday's airstrike on the Iranian embassy compound in the Syrian capital, Damascus, was one of the Iran's top soldiers, Brigadier General Mohammad Reza Zahidi, a senior commander in the Revolutionary Guard (IRGC). It was the boldest and deadliest in a series of attacks that have killed Iranian officials in Syria since December. Iran vowed harsh retaliation, raising the specter of a wider war and prompting the Israeli armed forces to suspend leave for all combat units. A day after they said they were mobilizing more troops for air defense units, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his country would harm whoever harms us or plans to harm us. The coffins of two of the killed officers were displayed in the capital, Tehran, to religious mourning chants. Some of those present waved the Palestinian flag. All 7 officers were expected to be buried later on Friday. Artificial intelligence will lead to many companies employing fewer people in the next 5 years, staffing providers at Taroko Group said on Friday. In a new survey highlighting the upheaval AI will bring to the workplace, some 41% of senior executives expect to have smaller workforces because of AI technology. Taroko said in a report based on a survey of executives at 2,000 large companies worldwide. Generative AI, which can create text, photos, and videos in response to open-ended prompts, has spurred both hope it could eliminate repetitive tasks and fear it would make some jobs obsolete. Tech companies including global giants Google and Microsoft have embarked on a wave of layoffs in recent months as they shift their focus to systems like OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's chatbot Gemini. The Taroko survey is one of the largest into the AI topic and follows a 2023 World Economic Forum study which said 25% of companies expected AI to trigger job losses, while 50% expected the technology to create new roles. But while most senior executives surveyed by Taroko say AI is a game changer, the vast majority say they have not made enough progress in adopting the technology. Taroko polled businesses in the United States, Britain, France, Germany, Japan, Spain, Canada, Australia, and Singapore. Sectors covered included defense, pharma, healthcare, industry, and logistics. Donald Trump suffered a pair of legal setbacks on Thursday as judges spurned his calls to dismiss criminal charges over the former U.S. president's efforts to overturn his 2020 loss in Georgia and his keeping classified records after leaving office separately. One of the Republican presidential candidates, allies former Justice Department official attorney Jeffrey Clark, faced the risk of disbarment after a Washington panel found he violated some attorney ethics rules in his attempt to enlist the agency to help overturn Trump's loss. Those cases represent just some of the legal entanglements facing Trump, which has been criminally charged in 4 cases as he challenges Democrats President Joe Biden in the November 5th election, with the first ever trial of a sitting or former U.S. president due to get underway in New York on April 15th. Florida-based U.S. District Judge Hualien on Thursday rejected Trump's argument that the case accusing him of illegally holding onto classified documents should be thrown out on the basis of his argument they were his personal records rather than government property. Trump has argued that his retention of highly sensitive documents at the Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida after leaving office in 2021 was authorized under a U.S. law that lets former presidents keep in personal records unrelated to their official responsibilities. Prosecutors in the case brought by Special Counsel Jack Smith have said the document relates to U.S. military and intelligence matters, including details about the American nuclear program, and could not be construed as personal. In an earlier setback, a Georgia judge rejected Trump's bid to dismiss criminal charges in the state's 2020 election interference case against him, which Trump argued violates his free speech rights. Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee found the indictment alleges statements by Trump and 14 others charged in the case were made in the furtherance of criminal activity and are not protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. U.S. President Joe Biden effectively gave Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu an ultimatum on Thursday: protect Palestinian civilians and foreign aid workers in Gaza, or Washington could rein in support for Israel in its war against militants. The message, after months of U.S. calls for Israel to change its military tactics that have killed tens of thousands of Palestinians, followed an Israeli attack that killed 7 World Central Kitchen (WCK) aid workers and triggered global outrage. Israel admits the strike was a mistake. The White House did not say exactly what steps it wanted Netanyahu to take, nor what it would do if he fails to take them. But analysts said the implicit threat was to show U.S. arms transfers to Israel or to temper U.S. support at the UN. Dennis Ross, a veteran U.S. diplomat now at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, said the president in effect is saying, meet this humanitarian need or I will have no choice but to condition military assistance. Biden, up for re-election in November, has struggled to balance pressure to rein in Netanyahu from progressive Democrats dismayed at the Palestinian civilian death toll against the risks that may alienate mostly pro-Israel independent voters. He has so far resisted certain conditions on arms transfer. The war began after Haman's October 7th attack on Israel killed 1,200 people, according to Israeli tallies, prompting an Israeli invasion that has laid waste to much of the densely populated territory and displaced most of its 2.3 million people. That is the size of Top Accolade Global News Updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Friday.